It says it's in the Cuyahoga Valley, which I'm in Cuyahoga County.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So now you're going to have me out doing a road trip.
Yeah, looks like it.
So I can give you a story for the next show. But
Well, they said there's rumors of hauntings, chemical spills,
And
serial
murderous
killers.
Satanists.
That's the one.
Satanists.
The guy just found.
Yeah, and the government's supposedly covering up things, and yeah.
okay, now here's the
Been
thing.
covering up things. What? Oh wait.
You brought this up, this story about this up, and so many things we're talking about tonight. I was actually looking at before the show. There was a story about Helltown where there were like 20 couples going to be married in Helltown for some special event, I think it was.
Okay.
And I saw that this afternoon and didn't read the whole article over, but was in there right before the show.
Wow.
Synchronicity.
That's
No. We share the same alien ESP there.
Yeah.
Been remote viewing.
That's it. But it was Helltown. That's why when I just Googled it and pulled it up, I'm like, no.
Yeah,
Well, one article says ghost hunters have actually gotten a terrifying glimpse of a man and children inside the old school bus. However, they were not the spirits of murder victims forever trapped in limbo, but rather a man and his family who temporarily lived there while their house was being renovated.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. In 1974, Ford signed a legislation to allow National Park Service to take it over. But they never did anything.
No, it's I think they still got signs up, road closed and stuff like that. But you can still get into it, I guess.
Well, yeah, sure, yeah.
I think you have to walk into it. I think you can't drive to it because it looks like it's pretty much got blockades unless those have been knocked down over the years.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing on here. They've got barricades up, basically blocking the roads off. But the buildings are still there.
Yeah, if you're going to turn it into a park, why would you barricade it off? It doesn't make any sense. This is how government conspiracies get started, for the most part.
Well, sure they are.
If it's made into like private property, then the people probably didn't want trespassers.
Yeah, but if it's technically a public park, even if it's not been renovated, I'm sure you could just go in.
Not if they didn't want you to until it was fixed up.
Well, whose fault is that?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, here's the other question: is how do you fix up a national park? It's a woodland area, unless you're going to go in and rake out all the leaves so they don't get forest fires. But I don't know. But it seems kind of interesting, and there's a lot of superstitions going around about that place as to whether or not there was actually government activity, UFO activity, etc. So, kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I'm looking that up to see how far that is away. It's not that far, really, from where I'm at.
There you go. Now you've got evening plans.
Yeah,
Take a GPS and let people know where you are.
Let people know where you're at.
It's actually down by a ski resort area.
Oh.
And I think, we did have we did a couple sky watches down in that region for UFOs. We went to a state park right in that same area to try to observe some UFOs a couple different nights. So it's not that far away from there.
So it kind of goes back to my thought of the government cover-ups, and before they could just simply say, well, you don't have any proof and there's nothing there. Now that you have proof, we have to do something else to cover it up. So it's more of a psychological cover-up now.
Yeah, it's we have to either create a new story
or keep you out completely.
Keep you out. But here again, this is another thing I was thinking about the other day, Barbara. As far as disinformation goes, the general public does a great job themselves creating disinformation.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And there's been a couple times that, I was talking to a group of UFO people, and I said, the government may not necessarily have to spread so much disinformation because the public itself does such a good job. You've got the different websites out there who, see a story, then they reprint it, they put their own spin on it. You get the ones who, I love these websites at times who put out the UFO pictures, the videos, and a lot of our CGI stuff. And they do a great job spreading disinformation. And the bad part is you could have somebody who posts this really good video of a UFO that you may never see because there's so much crap out there. And if I was doing disinformation, this another thought I had, that you wouldn't need a whole team of people. All you'd have to do anymore is have one person setting a room that comes up with this little thought and says, okay, let's put this out there. And by the internet, this thing can just spread like crazy.
So, it takes some person to post it on Creepypasta or one of the known fabricated websites for stories, and then it becomes just another urban legend.
And we used to have a list that we had of a number of sites. It was amazing how many fell into that category. There is a group out there called Third Phase of the Moon, and another one called Secure Team 10. And when we were at meetings and people would come in with a video, the first thing I'd ask them is, where did you get the video from? Well, I got it from this website. And they didn't realize that the first thing you did is you looked at it even more skeptically because you knew the source, most likely the videos. That you see this interesting video and this whole story created around this video. And some of them were so obviously CGI.
Yeah.
I mean, Sci-Fi Channel was better CGI than some of the stuff that you were seeing.
Oh, that's really lame then.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at some stuff like Sharknado and stuff like that was better graphics than what some of these videos were. It was embarrassing on some of these videos. But the thing is you get some people that don't look very far, research and really look at things objectively. They just said, well, it had to be true, It had to be good. And the unfortunate thing is it makes the investigator's job sometimes much more difficult.
Well, at least now with the internet, you can sort through a story and try to pick it apart by simply throwing the whole thing on the internet and seeing what matches up.
Oh, I do. And that was one of the things I started doing years ago with the internet is I would do searches for exact strings of words and see if I would see that same string of words popping up at different places on the internet. And there were a few times, not a high number, that would take a certain string of a witness's statement, put it into a search to see if it showed up in a book or showed up someplace else and not in like a witness's statement. And a couple times you'd see where the witness's statement was basically taken from a book. That they were really, it was basically a hoax story that they were putting together. And it goes back to almost like the kid in school who copies everything out of the encyclopedia for a report.
Right.
That's basically what they were doing. So I was really kind of looking for stuff like plagiarism is all I was really doing.
Well, that's why I was trying to do a timeline of when people started associating Bigfoot with aliens and to see if it matched up with that episode of $6 Million Man.
Well, it was 1970s, going off the top of my head, that happened in Pennsylvania. And $6 Million Man was what, early 1970s?
I think so.
Something like that, yeah.
Somewhere in through there. And that's another thing I do look at, Barbara, is when I'm looking at some cases, is what we're seeing in a similar time frame to certain other stuff popping up. Like you say with Bigfoot on the $6 Million Man. are certain things similar to what you see maybe in a movie that's out at that same time frame?
Because, I think that whole art imitates life, which imitates art again, I think comes into play a lot more with the internet being in play now with sites like Creepypasta, which pretty much you can make up a story and then somehow it becomes real.
Yeah, and there was a situation up in Canada where I got a report in that came in the region in Canada, an individual who reported an entity in their room. The report came in, a newspaper picked up on it, and they didn't have the witness's name, but they printed, some of the background story, and the witness wouldn't contact me after that. And when I looked up the witness's name on LinkedIn, I found the witness had a professional background in a field that they may not want to associate with anything like UFOs and aliens.
Right.
But based on that story in the newspaper, I got 2 more stories in from the same region of somebody claiming to take pictures of aliens in their backyard and in their house. And both of those cases, one turned out to be somebody wearing a costume, and the other one was a altered photograph. Both of them were hoaxed, but they came in based on the first story that somebody picked up on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, our time has just about run out. I want to thank everybody for being with us tonight. We probably got just about a minute, maybe a little less. So with that, I guess, Thomas, why don't you give out where people can listen to your show?
Well, if they want to listen to my show, I do a show called UFODacy. You can find it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, a number of the podcast groups that's rebroadcasting it, along with Odyssey One, which is the network they're on. It's a weekly show. I was a bad boy this week, Henry, and took a week off. But I've been on now for a year. I've got like 40 episodes or something like that in the vault, and it's broadcast on Thursday night at 8 o'clock, but it's repeated 3 more times during the week.
All right.
So it's on a total of 4 times during the week.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah. And if they want to contact me, they can do it to MUFON.com.
There you go. MUFON.
Right. MUFONOhio.com.
MUFONOhio.com. All right. Well, we got to run. And again, I want to thank everybody for taking time to be with us tonight. And so this is Henry Foister.
Jeffrey Gould.
And Barbara Duncan.
And we will see you next week at the same time. So, and next week we do have Richard Estep on. So join us then. So good night, everybody. You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the ParaX Radio Network. Join us again next week at the same time for more of the Paranormal View.